Today we are thrilled to have an inspiring figure in women's football joining us, Siobhan Hunter. Siobhan's story is one of incredible loyalty, dedication and excellence in the game. A one-club player, Siobhan has been with Hibs since the age of 11, an extraordinary journey that's seen her play over 300 professional games for the club. Her unwavering commitment to Hibs has made her a role model both on and off the pitch. In today's episode, we'll dive into her credible career journey, the highs and lows she's experienced, her thoughts on the growth of the women's game, and how she handles the challenges that come with being a professional in the sport. Thanks for joining us, Siobhan. First question we've got is, with over 300 games for Hibs, what's been your highlight?
Thanks for having me, first of all. My highlight, it's quite hard to kind of pinpoint one moment, but probably my debut, I think. Being a Hibs fan, growing up, kind of watching them week in, week out, and then being able to pull on the shirt myself. So yeah, first team debut probably was a highlight.
And what age were you when you made your first team debut?
I think I was 16.
16?
First team, so hopefully I've got that one right. But yeah, 16. Just a little kid, kind of just got asked to go. It was a away trip to Forfar, which isn't ideal for your first game, but you know, I was on the bus going up with all the girls and stuff, and it made it a proper event kind of thing. But yeah, really enjoyed it.
Did you notice from quite a young age that you were like ahead of a lot of girls your age?
Yeah, when I was at school, I wasn't like my friends. I was just telling them like, come and join, come and help, make the team. But kind of knowing that you're a wee bit more advanced, and you see the boys being like, oh, get her on our team rather than going the girls' team. So yeah, you can kind of know from a young age if you're good or not. But yeah, I didn't think I would go on to have the career I have so far. So.
And did you start playing with boys originally?
Just kind of mix at school. There was a mix, boys and girls, and then we had kind of girls tournament here and there. And then from kind of primary school, I was boys. I was only girl in school. So
how did you find that?
I didn't mind it, to be honest. A lot of people kind of don't like it, but I think it made me the player I am now. And playing my boys, the boys that I had in my school were quite good with me. They never really kind of seen me any different. So yeah, I think it made me a player I am today, but also it makes you work a little bit harder because you are the only girl.
Yeah. So it sort of gave you a good foundation to start.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Brilliant. You've obviously been with Hibs for over 300 games. Like I said, that's an unbelievable achievement. What three factors do you think have allowed you to excel for such a long period of time?
I think probably I work hard. I give myself that. I think I know that you don't just get these opportunities. You have to work for them. So being able to work as hard as I can every single day is one. Probably my passion. Being a fan and a player sometimes can go against you, but it can also work in your favour. So being passionate, and then maybe just my talent, being from Leith, making sure that I can do everything I can ability-wise, has probably put me in good stead.
When you say work ethic, what do you think that's came from, having that work ethic to push yourself forward and continually improve?
Just probably appreciating what I've got. I think when I was younger, you didn't have these opportunities and you have to work hard for them. You have no option. And to see how far the women's game's come on, it is really like life-changing. You know, you've got a job doing what you love, but before it was kind of just a hobby and you wanted to work hard to try and get to here where you are now. And yeah, I just kind of appreciate every moment that you have.
Brilliant. See, in terms of from your start at Hibs and all the way through, how sports science developed over that period?
Massively, yeah. I remember when I was younger, it was my dad taking the warm-up, so there was no sports science there at all. But even like, I don't know, 6 years ago, there probably wasn't a sports science there. It was the coaches doing all the work. Obviously, sports science now, they do majority of things. They do warm-ups, gym, nutrition. They're doing every part of the game that they can. And yeah, you never really had that when you were younger. So yeah, it's changed massively. We've got one at Hibs right now that currently probably, I'd say, one of the best I've ever had. And he knows his stuff and he tries to give you every bit of help that he can. And it's so big in the modern game now that you need these kind of people. And yeah, it's huge in football now as a whole.
Do you think it's made a difference to your performance since you've been introduced to these things?
Yeah, I think small margins that you need to change, maybe your running technique, the way you lift, the way you move. It's just little things like that, and then everything kind of comes together. But even like fitness testing wise, a lot of testing goes on that you never done. You used to just do the bleep test. That was you done. So there's a lot of that stuff done in the gym, stuff on the pitch, and it's all specific to the game. So yeah, it's really beneficial, I'd say.
Brilliant. You've been a role model and inspiration to a lot of young players. How did it feel to be such a big part of the change in the women's game in Scotland?
Yeah, sometimes it's hard. You don't really look at yourself as a role model, but there is young kids out there that look up to you. You know, you've played over 300 games for one club. It doesn't happen often. So, yeah, it's something I'm really proud of, but I just want to try and inspire the next generation and try and make the women's game as best as it can. Whether that is, you know, speaking to kids after a game, before a game, going along watching the kids. I went across and watched the academy not long ago, and it's just seen how far they've came. When I was there, speaking earlier about, you know, when you're younger, you're just kicking the ball up. I went to an academy game recently, and they're playing out for the back, playing short. So it's good to see, and I hope it just keeps developing.
And is that something you see yourself doing in the future, is helping out with the Hibs Academy?
Hopefully, yeah. It's something I'd like to do. I'd like to give back. I've given a lot to the club, but I'd also like to give back to the younger generation where I first started, because we all start somewhere, and you'll need help, whether that's, you know, coaching or encouragement or a wee bit of what I've went through experience. So yeah, hopefully I can give back, but hopefully still got a few more years.
What changes would you still like to see in the women's game?
Probably a bit more broadcast. I think it's on numerous different stations now, but I think it can still go a little bit more, a higher level up, and just trying to get it out there, keep it as positive as it can be. I think it goes out sometimes and you get the bad bits, you know, maybe the lowest part of the league, and they show those clips rather than the top part of the league. And like, some of these teams are just playing as hobbies, they're not playing full time, so it does get judged quite a lot from top to bottom, which is understandable, but I think more positive media around it, because it's grown a hell of a lot over the years. But it's still got loads to go. I think we're still making our way up to where we want to be, but I think, yeah, media is probably a massive thing, but also the amount of girls that are playing football now, can we give them a platform to go and perform, and keep pushing them to the very best.
How many teams are full-time at the minute then in Scotland?
In Scotland, I think it is 5. I think the other teams are part-time. They train most nights. So, yeah, the top 5 currently just now are full-time. But then you've got teams at the bottom who train maybe twice a week.
Right.
And then they're trying to compete with teams at the top. So it's difficult for them. It is hard for them. I don't personally know how it feels, but I would imagine it would be quite difficult. That's like probably us going to play like Chelsea week in, week out.
Yeah.
It is difficult. So yeah, it's difficult for the teams at the bottom, but hopefully the league can push a bit more and try and get all the teams full time.
It must be difficult, especially a lot of them will probably be juggling jobs as well as obviously their football career, and it must be hard to manage that.
Yeah, definitely. We used to do it like 3 years ago, trying to go from work to then travel to training. Well, our training's 8 o'clock at night, finish at 10, you're up next day going to work again. So yeah, they're all doing it, probably from bottom 6 down. And it's difficult for them because they just have to balance it and get on with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're lucky enough to be in a position where we can do it full time.
How did it feel when you first went full time? Was it like, was it just a proud moment for the fact that you had got there?
Yeah, it was amazing. I probably never ever dreamt of it. I think you want to do these things, but you never believe it's possible. So yeah, it was a dream come true probably. Just to do what you love each day is a real honour, and yeah, I really love it. It doesn't feel like a job. I think that's why it makes it so enjoyable, but it is our job at the end of the day, and we need to be the best that we can be.
See, in terms of when you first went full time, did you find it tough training every day? or were you used to that previously? Did you notice a difference in terms of the first few weeks getting into it, and then you started noticing the benefits?
Yeah, you can feel it straight away, going from like working during the day to then going to training at night, to then going, like you're going to training first thing in the morning, you're getting your breakfast, you're then going through a meeting, you're then going pitch, you go back, you get your lunch. You kind of step back and you're like I'm getting fed, I'm getting like my kit's being washed, like I'm doing pretty much nothing. I'm just turning up, doing my job. So yeah, it does take a wee couple of weeks to get used to it, but yeah, just actually being there and understanding how much benefit you get, you just feel like a footballer. Yep. Whereas before you kind of felt like it was almost a hobby.
Yeah. Do you do you got recovery sessions that you do?
So we have a optional on a Monday after a game. We play Sundays, so we have an optional recovery that day. So you've got kind of all the facilities at HTC, which is ice baths, hydros, bikes, gym, stretching, massage. So it is there for you to go and use.
And do they give you like a plan or structure on how it should be used, or is it just?
Yeah, so the sports science, he'll put it on the board, kind of what ones you should do. He tends to go for pick 3 out of 5, make sure you do 3. And then you kind of just pick which ones you want. So some people prefer, like some people don't like ice baths, some people like the hot one. So yeah, you just kind of have a choice which ones you want to choose.
Do you like an ice bath?
I actually do, yeah. Weirdly enough. In pre-season I used it pretty much after every session, just because like the running's awful. But obviously the welly now I don't use them much. Yeah. But no, I actually think it does help.
Even in terms of feeling good after it, you feel great.
It does. It gives you a little buzz that you probably wouldn't expect from an ice bath. But yeah, I actually really like it. And
in terms of your training schedule, how often do you do strength and conditioning? Like gym-based work?
Gym-based work, we do 1 upper session, and then we do 1 gym session, and then we have another optional upper session. So they're like really strict with, you have to do 1 of each, minimum, and then you've obviously got the optional one as well as that. It's quite difficult just because the schedule that we're on is back-to-back days, so try to do gym. Obviously, you have the sports science part of it, you have to be careful. Match day +2, match day -2. It kind of all falls into the match day. So making sure that we get 1 of each is really important to him.
How important do you reckon it is to build the foundation with your strength and conditioning work in pre-season? Like you said, during the season you've got so many games, it's hard to do a good legs session and recover in between games. So if you get the foundations in pre-season, then you can just sort of keep it consistent throughout.
Yeah, definitely. It increases it during pre-season, so we'll do 2 to 3 strength sessions a week to make sure that when you do go into the games, you're not dropping right off. So yeah, pre-season we kind of really go for it and go for 2 to 3. But yeah, it's important to build that up and make sure that you're ready to go for the season.
And the last one is nutrition. Is it do you all get tailored plans yourself, or is it just a team sort of, here's your plan for a team?
So we get individual ones. Obviously everyone's different, so you can't really give a general one. So yeah, sports science is currently doing that just now, but last year we had a nutritionist for the men's team that worked out everything that we should be eating, what we shouldn't be eating, kind of went through food diaries and stuff, get the skin folds, get weighed every Saturday morning. So yeah, it's kind of coming more into women's football a lot more. It never used to be a thing at all. A couple of years ago even still. So yeah, we're introducing it now that you kind of have to be strict with the nutrition because it's just so important. You don't realise probably until you're a bit older, but you need to be eating the right amount of food, the right type of food, the right timing even. So yeah, it's really important for women's football and also men.
And did you need to change a lot when they started introducing that, or were you already quite switched on with all?
Probably the last couple of years I've been pretty good, but before that I probably wasn't as great as I could have been. But yeah, I feel the benefits of making sure that I'm eating well, that I can see it in my performance. So I tend to try and stick to it as best as I can. And it's hard because, you know, if you're out, you want to get lunch out, you can't really choose a great meal, but it's just making sure that you're consistent and professional with it.
Consistent habits.
Yep, definitely.
What's been your toughest moment of your career?
Probably when we lost the Scottish Cup. We played in a cup final against Glasgow City. It was literally end to end, attack after attack. So I think they just countered. I still remember the moment the one girl just ran, I think, from our own half, kept running. Put one of our centre backs on her back and then put me on my back and then ended up cutting inside and hitting probably the sweetest shot she's ever hit in her whole entire life. But I went top corner, and I just remember it was like last 5 minutes, and it was 2-2 at this point. So they obviously went and scored to make the winner. It was just too late for us to kind of then come back, but I think the way it just happened, it was just end to end, and to lose it kind of last minute was probably the hardest point in my career. Just the change in how you're on top for so long, but it just takes that magical moment to kind of bring you back down to earth and take it all away from you. So yeah, that was probably the toughest moment, but I think probably allowed you to then learn to then go forward and be successful again.
Do you reckon, obviously, having that resilience when you do handle setbacks is how determines how successful you're going to be? Yeah,
I think to be successful, you need to kind of face these moments. It's not nice at the time, but you can only learn from them. If you go your full career just winning everything, you're probably not going to learn to a massive amount. So yeah, having those moments definitely shaped us to be the team we are, but also allows us to then go get more.
Do you think you learn more about yourself in defeat than you do success?
Probably. I'm not the best in defeat. I think I'm a pretty bad loser. But I just so competitive. I want to win everything, whether it's training or a match day. I just want to win all the time. And you do learn. You kind of have to learn the other side of it, the mental side, and like it is. It's not the end of the world. It's horrible. It's the worst pain in that moment, probably football-wise, but I've kind of learned over the last few years that it's not the end of the world. There is other things out there, but you can also learn as a person to how can I be better, how can I do that better next time, and yeah, you just have to learn each kind of moment that you're in, that how can you then be better the next time.
Have that growth mindset.
Yep.
What advice would you give to young girls who aspire to play professional football?
Just enjoy it. I think nowadays, I would say they're pretty lucky. They've got the opportunity to be full-time from a very young age. I've only been full-time for the last 2 years. So I was 28 when I went full-time. So girls now, you can be full-time at 16, 17. So enjoy it because you've got so much opportunity now to go be a real talent, a real professional and a footballer for a long period of time. So yeah, just enjoy it, but also work hard. I'm one that to get where you want to be, you really need to work hard. It'll never come easy unless you're, Messi. But there's not a lot of them out there. But just enjoy it, but also work hard. Make sure you're doing everything you can to be the best professional.
And do you think Scotland's the best place to pursue that dream?
Being Scottish, I need to say yeah. But no, I think the opportunities in England right now is crazy. There's teams, obviously Arsenal selling out Emirates. There's teams in Scotland that can't sell out their own stadium. So for a women's team to sell out a men's stadium is crazy. So obviously the opportunity there, the fans, you got more money, you got more facilities, bigger facilities and stuff. So I would like to think that Scotland have got probably it's more of a stepping stone to be the best player in the world, but you have to start somewhere, and I think majority of Scotland teams have the facilities to be the best that you can be. But I feel like Scotland's probably more of a stepping stone to maybe being the best going down in England.
How do Scottish teams compete in the Champions League? Do they do well or?
So right now Celtic they're in group stages, which is the first time that's ever happened. Obviously when they've not won a point, they've scored a couple of goals, but even it's probably a big thing scoring a goal, never mind getting a point. So it's it's probably too far a margin that you can compete.
Yep.
As such, you're kind of sitting in low block trying to defend and then counter. So, Champions League's probably, if you get a good draw, you probably get a chance, but probably to get to group stages is quite a big thing. But even at that, they had to beat 2 teams that won their leagues. I think it was Sweden and Norway. So they had to beat them twice to get through.
What country sort of lead the way in women's football at the minute?
Probably England or Spain, yeah.
And is it just resource, do you think that's...
I think so. Just money as well. Like England have been doing it probably, I don't know, last 6-7 years. Like paying a lot of money. And obviously when you can have a lot of money, you can do quite a lot.
From anywhere.
So, yeah, they've probably led the way for quite a while.
Have you never had opportunities to go down England?
No, I had an opportunity to go AC Milan, but I know I should have.
That's not.
No, it's
not a bad claim to
I
fame,
know.
no.
I went over and had a 3-day trial.
Right.
To be fair, it wasn't nothing like too special. It was kind of just an AstroTurf, like a small gym maybe, but the size of this room. So, but I'd imagine now it's probably quite a bit better.
What was that like going up when they first approached you? Were you sort of like...
I was, at that point in my life, I was probably just, like my head was all over the place. I didn't know what I was doing. So I think it probably came at a wrong time. I was too scared to kind of leave here.
Yep.
Because I wasn't in the right headspace. But I think if I was, I probably would have went. Like back then I was getting like £30 a month to travel to Hibs. So to then go there to get a full-time wage, play full-time. It was all there for me to go. I never felt like I was in the right place, but it was quite annoying. Now that I think about it, it was probably...
Looking back now though, are you sort of glad it's worked out the way it has? The fact, obviously, now you're a Hibs legend, over 300 games. Yeah,
I think it's probably like what I'd like if I was to like retire now and say what would you like to do, I would probably said be at Hibs for my whole career. So it's kind of that there in the back of my head thinking maybe I should have went, but like out with football as well, everything's kind of fell together, and I just feel like to be that player that's kind of been at the one club and stuff, that doesn't happen much as well. So I quite like that part of it.
100%. I think loyalty in football is very rare.
Yeah, especially nowadays.
The fact you've been brought up in Leaf next to the stadium.
It's quite a nice story. It just still fits.
100%.
So, it's not a regret, I'd say, as such, but I sometimes wish I just went and done it to see what it was like. But then following back to this, it's not like it's the most amazing thing for me. So
yep. So how would you like to be remembered?
Probably just that Hibs fan playing for our club. They give everything. Never left anything on the pitch. Kind of left it all on the pitch. So just being a Hibs player that, I don't know, young girls maybe one day want to grow up and be. But yeah, I just like, I'm quite down to earth. I wouldn't ever be too full of myself, think I'm, Billy Big Time or anything like that. I just want to be that girl from Leaf who managed to live her dream.
No, that's great. I was actually at one of the Hibs games, and you had a wee fan club there. So you're obviously making a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before, kind of, if I make a difference to one girl's life, then that's amazing. But if I do it to more, then even better. But I just want little girls to have that dream and to be able to go do it. And if I can help, then I'll be happy enough to help.
No, I think you've made a massive dent in the women's game, so you should be proud of yourself.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Enjoyed it.
Cheers.
Thank you.